it immediately alleviates this rage they have towards me. It's like right away they're like, oh, it's okay, don't worry about it. But they need to feel seen. They need to know that they were right and I was wrong and I know that. And it turns something so negative into something like where they get to be Mother Teresa, where they get to go, you know what, you did wrong me, but it's okay. Hey, you're human.
Welcome to Reclaiming, Sarah Silverman.
Thank you, Monica Lewinsky.
It's so funny. I was realizing as I was thinking about us sitting down to chat that I actually, in my head and out loud, I always think of you and call you Sarah Silverman with the last name. I don't know why.
A few friends have told me that.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you're in my
Sarah,
phone as Sarah
Silverman.
S, but it's sort of just in case my phone got stolen. And I was thinking about, I think we first connected on Twitter and then became real life friends. And we don't get to spend enough time together. But when I see you, I just love how you're able to kind of traverse the sort of the light and the humorous and the real and the deep and everything in between. And
I had so much fun. We went to lunch. And I had such a good time with you. Like, immediately felt like Mishbuka.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
You're telling me about, I think it's like an aunt. It's the story where it's like, yeah, he was in the Holocaust. Big time.
That was my sister-in-law. My sister, oh my God, that was still the funniest thing ever. Her mom and her uncle were having a conversation, and her mom was like, oh yeah, he was in the Holocaust big time. Yeah. So my sister-in-law is an amazing writer, and she's very funny. Actually, when after we had lunch, my brother was already married, but I was like, you are not going to believe who I had lunch with because you were his number one crush for a very long time, celebrity crush.
Oh my God.
So he likes funny women.
I missed the boat.
Yeah. We could have his sisters-in-law. Oh. I mean, that would have been pretty good.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
So right. Feels so right.
But I also tell this story about you all the time because you're such an amazing party thrower. And that pre-pandemic, I think the last party I went to of yours pre-pandemic where often you see these signs that say, don't ask anyone for pictures. It was, don't ask anyone to be on your podcast. Well, and here we are.
Yeah, but I'm the worst because, I have this one party usually once a year, and it's great. There's no one you're dreading talking to. It's like all wonderful
yummy
people. And I always made a big sign that said, no podcast solicitations. Because it's like, when you're in a great conversation with someone and and then they're like, I'd love for you to come on my podcast. And so you came, and a friend of mine who also is very like wellness, crystals, I was there. And I immediately was like, oh my God, you should do her podcast. And I was such a hypocrite.
But it was, I was getting ready for us to chat, and it led me to, I had forgotten that you were part of the Crank Yankers team.
Yes.
And so I got to thank you because I did this like amazing dive back into Crank Yankers that I had not listened to for a really long time. First of all, like if anybody listening doesn't know, Crank Yankers was we made crank calls and then you would play them with puppets, right?
Yeah, they'd illustrate them with an entire like incredible puppet master team, like this. And there'd be a whole other layer of jokes, like visual jokes and everything. When we did it, it was so fun, And I just got involved because I was with Jimmy at the time, and Jimmy created it, and like just all the comedians in his orbit did it. And we would go to Vegas to do it because I guess at the time, that's where you could record people without them knowing it. And it was legally.
Like, the Linda Tripp episode. Exactly.
And by the way, the whole series, the Ryan Murphy.
Oh, impeachment.
Oh my God.
Oh.
I was living off of that. And it was so great. I know you were one of the executive producers. And
oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, it was really, I think it's so interesting. We seem to be in this kind of time in the world where we're revisiting different stories from a fresher perspective.
I mean, talk about reclaiming.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think it was the guy brought it up around impeachment. You have a podcast, and some rando like called in and was saying something about that when I had been on SNL, he was an intern.
Yes.
Right? And then he had been tasked to go to my hotel room. Like, I was like, oh, I would never let anyone in my hotel. But then he was talking about that it was basically my Filofax.
You stole like a pen or you stole something from your room.
Just so weird.
And really thought that I was going to be like, yeah, totally. Like, I'm just like, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Such a violation.
I think when I heard that, it totally validated for me that I had what I thought of as an irrational panic the first few years after 98. I was always pack all my undergarments in my carry-on because I was panicked about this idea if I lost my luggage that like my panties would be on eBay. And so, and then you kind of like every time, whenever you have these kind of somewhat seemingly irrational fears pop up, and we all have them in different ways, and you try to talk yourself out of it of like, come on now, but I hear something like that and I think,
well, I think as women especially, we're always saying like, oh, this is just take it. It's this, you're being irrational. But especially you, I mean, because there's this like piece of history that is, people I can see people wanting a piece of it, but it's just like, everyone has moments. Like I remember one time I was in an airport, a tiny airport in New Mexico, and for whatever reason, I was sobbing. I was, it doesn't even matter, but I was sobbing. I had one tissue on me, and it was like drenched already. And I'm just trying to be like invisible. And this man and his son walk over, and they ask me for a picture.
Oh my God!
And I'm just like, I feel them walking over, and I think maybe they're gonna offer me a tissue or put a hand on my shoulder or ask me if I'm okay. No, they want their thing for Instagram or it's just like
it is. It's
wild.
It's fascinating to me in some ways because I think it reflects this like thirst for connection in a way that people have. Like it's a reflection of their own life in some sense of needing a connection or what do you?
I love connecting with people, and there's such a difference between like fans that like really connect with your material, or they have some story that connects with me or whatever, and I love it, But then there's the people with like the Disney bobblehead things, and they're just collecting those, and they know I'm a Disney person, a character, but they don't have any connection to me personally. It's like they're collecting baseball cards or something, and they just, and I'll sign it, whatever, but it's not like, it doesn't feel like connection.
Well, I think that's what can be hard is you're seen as a commodity in a way instead of as a person.
Yeah.
But
I would say for the most part, when people approach me, it's just lovely.
Yeah.
And
I've actually talked about this story that I'm about to tell in some of the talks I've done because it was such an extraordinary moment where you really showed the world in many ways how positive things can happen on the internet and social media, and it was a really touching story of, you can probably tell it better, but a guy who was kind of being a bit of a douche online, right?
Yeah, there were a couple. There was one guy who was very angry at me for playing Hitler on Conan. And very right-wing Trump guy and very Jewish. And I engaged with him, and I explained to him what gallows humor was. And he's like, oh, yeah, I get it. Yeah. And like, and he oddly just very much went the other way into the very liberal world, which is not, I'm not trying to, change anyone. I just engaged with him. I wasn't trying to, groom him into
a Democrat.
Whatever. And then there was a guy who just called me the C word on something. I happened to see it. I mean, and I happened to click on his profile and I saw that he has like chronic back pain and all this stuff. And so when I responded, I go, boy, I know how mean that kind of chronic back pain can make you feel. Like, I get it. And we became kind of pen pals and direct message, and we had a bit of a relationship, but
I remember that. Like, that became a really big, no, it did. It became a really big story. And I think it was so impactful, at least in the, kind of in the anti-bullying space. People were talking about it a lot because it was an incredible example of ways that you can turn a situation around online, ways you can connect online, that the internet can be used for good.
I don't mean to like shine a light on the bullies as opposed to the victims of bullying, but of course, bullies are bullied. They're hurt people.
Exactly. But I think it was so important because it then I saw it as the knock-on effect of what you did. I had an experience on my page where someone had said something shitty, and someone else in my community had seen it and had gone to this person's page, had seen that his wife had recently passed away. And so she posted this thing of, I saw that your wife passed away recently. I'm really sorry, and that totally changed the interaction. I, then saw it and that moment. And so I think it's so important to remind people, I think, as much as we can lash out online and can lash out in our lives, I think that sense of being able to—
Or in traffic.
Yeah. Oh, well, I have road rage. I mean, I am a total, that is—
Oh my God, Monica.
I also realized as I was watching the Knicks and Pacers the other night that I was like, oh, I have road rage when I watch basketball.
Yeah.
So, like the game. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. What the fuck? How did you, and like, having lived in New York, I'm a Knicks fan, so it was. But it is. That's where all my rage comes out. So, do you not have road rage?
I'm usually on the other end of road rage because I'm maybe not the greatest driver, but I do have some, because I know that energy is catchy.
Yeah.
Negative energy is so catchy. When someone's mad at me on the road and they fucking are pissed at me, I take that on, and then I'm probably pissed at the next person. Or if I'm late to something, I am much more apt to be like, fucking go!
Yes.
And, so what I tried to make adjustments. I leave very early for things.
Oh, good for you.
That eliminates a lot of road rage on my part. When people are mad at me, I have a couple survival skills that are maybe not the most ethical things, but what I do is, first of all, usually I fuck up, I did something wrong or whatever, and as this isn't, I think this is good. As they pull to the side and I know they're about to unleash on me, I always say sorry, because it's usually something I did wrong. By the time they even meet eyes with me, I'm going like, I'm so sorry.
Oh,
I'm like, I'm so sorry. And it immediately alleviates this rage they have towards me. It's like right away, they're like, oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. But they need to feel seen. They need to know that they were right and I was wrong. And I know that. And it turns something so negative into something like where they get to be Mother Teresa, where they get to go, you know what, you did wrong me, but it's okay. Hey, you're human. It's like this exchange. It's so fast. And then the devious thing I do is if someone's behind me and they're pissed at me for some reason, I really try to be a very good driver on the road. And they, unk or something.
Probably me one time.
I will look at them in my rearview mirror, pretend to recognize them as a friend I know, and go, oh my God, hi! And they're suddenly terrified that it's somebody that they are doing this now to someone that they didn't realize they knew. And it's pretty great.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I will talk about my road rage in soft reclaiming of like, they're capital R reclaimings, like getting your narrative back or just, so many of the things. But then there are these small ways that for me, I consider it like a win or a reclaiming when I have called someone a fuck face, but I do not flip them off. Like that is, I found I returned to my center. One thing we have in common, although not as long, was I was a bedwetter till I was about 8. And I also had a pacifier that I called my Suska until I was 8.
Suska.
A Suska, yep. And you, like, it was interesting to me because you had bedwetting issues for a long time, right?
I think I stopped when I was about 15.
Okay. And no, it's I think it is, first of all, I think it's amazing that you talk about it because you can't be the only person in the world to whom that's happened.
Mm-mm.
And so I think it's, I don't think I talk about my bedwetting that publicly.
So irresponsible, Monica.
I
You could be
know.
helping people.
Exactly. But it's, so you also then started your stand-up kind of not that much longer after that. And so am I just trying to come up with crazy things, or do you feel like there was a connection in this movie? Because it seemed young, like 16, 17 seemed young to start stand-up, no?
I think a lot of things converge. Well, I always wanted to be a comedian since I can remember.
Okay.
And that's such a gift. Like, I just always knew, you know, what I wanted, the plan. It was just, and I think being a bedwetter until so late, and it must have had something to do with my actual like physical development and not just emotionally, but like I didn't get my period until I was almost 18.
Wow. Oh my God, I was 11.
Oh, baby.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, in a way I was lucky, other than my parents were very concerned and like take me to the doctor and they'd just be like, I don't know. I don't know. But I think I was really little for my age and I just sprouted like at 17. And I remember when I first got my period, I was like 17 and a half. I was peeing. My high school friend, Lee Lambard, was in the bathroom, like putting on makeup or something. We were in my mother's bathroom and I was peeing and I pulled down my pants and I see blood. And I can't believe it's finally come, and I go, and we were friends, but she didn't know, like I had a few very close friends that knew
Oh, okay.
And so I go, I got my period. And she goes, oh God, that's the worst, but I like got up and went out to where my mom was. And I was like, I got my period.
Oh,
but
it's I mean, did you read? Because we're around the same age. So were you very into "Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret"?
Yes, of course. But I was like, "Where's my?"
Right. Yeah. No. And meanwhile, I was really early, which was pretty torturous to be that.
I was so old. I was like, I put a tampon in on day 1.
Yeah.
I was like.
But I developed early, and I remember there was it just felt, in grade school, it just felt like you didn't want to be the first, right? So I wasn't the first one to get boobs, thank God. I won't embarrass the girl whose name I still remember, who was the first one to get boobs. But I remember it wasn't, when I started developing, I was really self-conscious about it because the popular girl hadn't gotten boobs yet. So it was sort of like until she got boobs, it wasn't okay to have boobs. And then when she started to get boobs, then it was okay. So, I mean, it feels bonkers to look back on the kind of anxiety that I don't know if boys have it too, but particularly for girls, the kind of anxiety that we have around fitting in, it's just, I mean, that must have been, I'm thinking about that would have been stressful to not have your peer. I mean, obviously, if there were people you didn't tell, right? Friends of yours that didn't know that feeling of like, having to.
Yeah, because we're like, something's wrong with me. If kids especially are always looking for where they fall, and desperate to be normal.
Right.
And, but in terms of the correlation with stand-up, you're asking, like, yeah, definitely when I started stand-up, I after being a bedwetter, I was just like, the fear of humiliation was something that I was like I may have seemed fearless as a comic, but that's just because I was a bedwetter for so many years. And like, once you can overcome that, like that's a humiliation that, I mean, it was a shame. I really never thought I would ever talk out loud about as a kid and as a teenager. And of course I do. And I don't have any shame around it. I mean, I was a kid, you know? There's that quote I keep seeing, and it doesn't say who said it, but it's like, you've grown into someone who would defend you as a kid, and that's like, that alone is everything. And I feel like anyone can hear that, even the most self-deprecating person, and be like, I did. Yeah, I did. And that's a great thing.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, I look back now on a lot of things in my youth and wonder kind of, I think in today's landscape or world, we would see certain things as a sign that something was wrong. Might have been like, I remember I stole the answer book to a workbook in second grade because I wanted to get all the right answers on the thing. And then I also, I wasn't supposed to take my little recorder home, and I did because I wanted to get better. And I look back and I think, okay, clearly I was going through something.
Yeah, you're so scared you weren't good enough.
Yeah.
Or even maybe the best.
And I do all this inner child. I don't know. Do you do that? Yeah. All the inner child work and stuff. And, but you do just sort of think, you just want to hold them.
I mean, 100%. And that inner child stuff, it sounds so woo-woo, so LA. It's like, that's the only way.
Yeah.
There is a 10-year-old inside of you. And when you lose your shit about something, that's the one losing her shit. Or his shit, or their shit. If it's hysterical, it's historical, is the...
Ooh, I have not heard that.
Yeah, my shrink told me that.
Oh, that's a good one.
And that's exactly it. It's like when you find yourself really losing it over something, and maybe it doesn't feel proportionate. It does to you, but maybe to your partner or someone else. It's like, Jesus, this is little you not being taken care of, not being heard, or something triggered from your childhood. You know, what are the things? You weren't heard, you were ignored, you were, you know, not told you were enough, you were not, you know, whatever it is. Your parents are gonna fuck up. You know, the best way they can raise you is to like be able to seek and afford therapy, you know, whatever. But like, you know, like my dad said to my sister who has all the kids in our family, like, I'm a better parent than my parents. You'll be a better parent than me. And that's what all you can hope for, you know. My sister Laura texted me a picture of me when I was little that I've never seen before.
Aww.
And I was like, that's her. That's the inner child I'm like fighting for and trying to continue to raise or re-raise in a healthier way so that there's more space for others and... You know,
present time, Sarah. It's will you send that to me? I keep I have a folder on my phone of photos of people as a little kid, and every once in a while, it's like this started a long time ago, but it's like this idea of from before you were broken, and it sounds like that was.
I find it heartbreaking, but like in the best way, where I'm like, okay, you're who I'm fighting for.
Yeah.
Because I've got these like bags under my eyes because I'm like, I didn't sleep much, you know, and...
Why did you not?
I think I didn't want to wet the bed. I think I had a lot of stress. I you know, was watching late night television, late night talk shows. And
preparing. Did little 10-year-old Sarah Silverman have a sense, since you wanted to be a comedian, did you just go, oh yeah, that's what I'm going to be, it's going to happen? Or did you hope and dream and not really, in the good Jewish way, not think it would happen?
I mean, kind of both. In a very unthinking way, I just assumed this was because I was funny. I was funny in my family. I was the funny one in my school, and that was always my place, you know, like I just always felt very like this was my identity. And I think of other comics that way, like we're kind of an island of misfit toys, you know.
Aww.
And I like it. I love that. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, especially because I think you bring so much joy to people. And I was watching your new special, PostMortem, and there's a moment where, I don't know, the light shown on some portion of the audience where I saw someone, I assumed it was a woman, may not have been, but someone had their hand on the person next to them's back. And it made me think about how I wonder if this special for you, because you're talking about the loss of your dad and your stepmom in a short period of time and your mom who had passed earlier. But it made me think about if this will be a place for people to come in a way to grieve, to come and connect.
I mean, I hope so.
Because that's all I could assume was sort of that the person that I would just keep going with she because I think it was a woman, but the person that she was consoling that person and that they had connected to something, whether it was even, in a funny way, or maybe they had just lost someone. And so it just was really touching to me. So
yeah, I really tried to make it not feel like, and not that there's anything wrong with a one-person show, but I didn't want it to feel like a one-person show. I wanted it to be comedy first. And I've always gone to the kind of darkest, scariest corners of humanity for material, and this was very personal. But I was really surprised and pleased that people really connect to it in very personal ways. And, a couple people suggested, and I thought about doing this for a while, of showing pictures of my family as I talked about them and stuff. And I just really didn't want to do that because I want people to picture their family.
Right.
And I want them to imagine. And then at the end in the credits, you kind of go, oh, there's, oh my God, the EKG, whatever the kind of Easter eggs in there. But I definitely saw during the tour occasional people bursting into tears, and it isn't, I don't feel like the show is at all manipulative in that way.
No, no.
And I really worked hard on relief laughs and, and not just like, oh, and poor me and this. It's so universal. And, but it was lovely. It became very cathartic for me. And I think it was also cathartic for a lot of people in the audience. I mean, everyone is on one side or the other of losing their parents.
I feel very lucky. I still have both my parents.
Yeah.
So, but I'm cognizant of, things. I think I miss living in New York so much, but aside from my niece and nephew that I'm obsessed with, it kind of keeps me here. I think the fact that my, all the parent people in my life are aging.
Yeah.
How did you decide sort of what you were going to put into the special? Because this was also a lot more personal for you, right?
Definitely. I mean, it was very honest and very vulnerable, but I didn't put a lot of thought. I didn't sit and decide to do it necessarily. My last special was for HBO, and as it was coming out, like the month it was coming out where I would do all the press like I'm doing now, my parents were dying. So I didn't do any press. I was living in an apartment with them and my sisters and everyone. And when the special came out, I was at zero for new stand-up material, which is where I am now. When I go out and do stand-up, I'm like, is this something? Is this something? It's like you start over again. So when my parents died, and when I first went back to doing stand-up again, I was at zero. So I had spoken at my dad's funeral, and his eulogy was very funny because I was recalling some classic schleppy stories. So that's where I kind of started from. I go, okay, I mean, when I'm starting over, I'm looking at everything I have. What have I not talked about? What do I have that's new? What could be something maybe? And that was like the tent pole. That was kind of the totem of like, this is something. And I started there. And I remember getting to Largo, which is a club I work at a lot. And two of my sisters and I had just spent the whole day cleaning their cleaning out their apartment. And that was when my boyfriend Rory was like, boy, when it all comes down to it and your life is over, it's all about someone just cleaning out your Spanx drawer, but just going straight from there to Largo and just talking. And of course, that's just the most supportive crowd where they're, you can't really tell if something works or not because the audience is like, basically like, go girl, you've got this. We love you. We love comedy. Oh, we see you're trying, but it's so supportive. It's a great place to kind of go and be like, is this something? And then you have to go to like the Comedy Store, the Improv to see if it, like people who are actually just, not huge comedy fans of the whole process.
It sounds like you have to be able to really trust your instinct of, like you were just saying, okay, there's something here or there's not something there. And sort of the fishing around is looking for something that kind of sticks, right? And so how did you learn to trust that, or did you always trust it and that was part of knowing you wanted to be a comedian?
I think so. Yeah, I don't know. I never really think about it. I just start. I just go. Flanagan, who runs Largo, always laughs at me because every time I'm just like, I have nothing. I have nothing. And I'm in a full panic backstage and I'm just writing down like, anything. But that's where you have to start.
Yeah.
You have to start there. And I really learned, I always say like, I learned that a lot from Chris Rock of just, he'll do a special and he does so much more prep than anyone else I know. He's like,
oh, really?
200 shows on the road, 200 shows at like one club, he just goes until it's all muscle memory. And he's really crafts, and that's why he's so brilliant. And then he'll turn up at the Cellar at 0, and of course, he's a surprise guest. Here's Chris Rock. The audience is out of, it's only 100 people or so that fit in that room, and the audience is out of their minds and they're so excited. And then he starts and he's just, is this something, maybe is this an area? And it is brave. Not only is it totally essential to write comedy, you can't do it in front of your bathroom mirror. Like you need the audience there. But to be brave enough to go, this crowd is so excited to see me, and I know I am going to disappoint them because I'm not doing bits I know work. I'm not doing anything I know works. I have to come here and try stuff and have it not go over, even though I'm Chris Rock, and have it bomb or have it not work or have it be, and maybe there's a germ of something that works. And maybe there's, and because a comedian becomes a comedian because they want strangers to like them, it's not like the healthiest thing. It's really hard to get to the place of it really being a process that you respect and you go, I could kill with this material that's tried and true, but I will not grow that way. And my only choice, if I'm going to continue in this career as comedian and be fresh and relevant, is to bomb and eat shit and slowly piece things together. And I'm going to disappoint this crowd. It goes against everything we need and want, is brave.
Yeah.
So, I
really
cling to that.
interesting. I didn't know any of that. That's like how you work through material. And is there almost like an unspoken rule among audiences that if someone's working their material out in that sense that they don't comment on it or shit on people for a bit? I feel like maybe
say
I don't.
Whatever they want. I think for comedy fans, they like seeing the process. They're into it. They understand it. But there's always got to be people that was like, I went to see Sarah Silverman. She was terrible. All she talked about was Call of Duty, which is like all I'm talking about now. It's like, not so happy accident that my parents died right as I was starting new material and it became this story. But this time I'm at 0 and all I'm doing with my free time is playing Call of Duty. I don't know who my audience is for this because like I'm in my 50s and I'm playing Call of Duty with like 14-year-olds and some people my age. It depends on the time of day you're playing. And it's so funny because I did 25 minutes at Largo last week, which I can't even believe I had that much new material, but 24 of it I'm hoping to displace with better material, But like where I'm at is so funny because Rory wrote some joke about something. He writes for Kimmel, and I go, oh, that's such an old reference. It was like, it wasn't even that old, but I go, I don't know. I think it's like a little, if it's an older reference, it's kind of hacky or whatever. And then I was laughing because I looked down at like my stuff I was writing down to talk about, and it was a big gripe on the end of the movie Grease.
Oh, okay. Let's have it. I love Grease. I watched Grease probably
of course,
so many times.
We're the same age, pretty.
Yeah.
I'm a little older than you. But it's like, of course, it was our whole world.
What's your gripe about the end of Grease?
It was on, and I was watching at the end, and and she's like, Sandy, you must start anew. Don't you know what you must do? And I'm just like, oh, she's the one that has to change? The lovely girl who loves her boyfriend from the summer. She's got to wear slutty clothes, get a perm, and start smoking. That's the happy ending.
Wow.
Not Danny Zuko to maybe just go like, hey, I should be vulnerable, and why am I ashamed of this awesome girl that likes me? I don't want to act like I like her in front of duty. Like what? This is the lesson we're learning. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love that outfit at the end. Are you kidding me?
It's so funny. I just had a conversation for the pod with Cindy Crawford, and we were talking about the exact outfit.
Oh, that outfit.
That outfit. The outfit at the end.
So hot.
But it's interesting because I'm not sure I've thought about it this way, but that's pretty intense messaging for most of us Gen X women.
Of course.
Right?
It's crazy
Like,
looking back,
it.
but we can still love it, of course.
We can still love it, right.
It's like Friends. Like, I can watch, when I'm on the road, I know I can always find a Friends or a Law and Order. And that's like my, your totem. Like, I feel like I'm home wherever
your Lotus
I am.
Stone.
And I love Friends. So what's not to love about Friends? But it's all homophobic jokes. It's like 90% homophobic jokes. But we can know that and take that grain of salt and know that the world, part of the world, half of the world has moved on past that, and and still love it. Or Sex in the City, it's like, and the whiteness of it, the homophobic jokes, all those things. That's what art is. It changes with time. It changes from what you see from the perspective in your world changing and the world around you changing, but it doesn't mean you have to throw it out. You just see it in a whole new with a whole new perspective.
Right. Well, I think that's one of the sort of complicated things about comedy and cancellation and all those things of just the where do you draw that line, right? Comedy's always pushing a line, right? Otherwise we would do it ourselves. We wouldn't need it. I think we wouldn't need comedy. I mean, obviously we need to laugh, but I think part of where comedy comes from is sort of pushing a cultural line or a personal line in some ways. And so that sense of people being canceled for things they did in the past in a comedy routine. I don't know. It's complicated.
Oh, yeah.
It's really complicated.
And listen, I've been on that side of it, and my view is, you can say anything you want. Don't be ridiculous. Like the people who go, I can't say anything. No, you can say anything you want. And if you consider yourself an edgy comic or a comic right up to the line or past it or whatever, the risk of that to be edgy is there's risk. That's what makes it so cool, right? Well, you're risking something.
Right.
You don't like if you have any consequences to what you say. That's freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of any consequences.
Right.
You're going to lose people. You're going to gain people. To be so angry that there are consequences to the things you say, to me, are so silly. And I've said a lot of things that I cringe at, things that I don't cringe at that people have been upset by, things that I go, whoa, my understanding of the world was very different then, and I feel differently now. And I've gotten so much shit for apologizing years later for a couple of things, and that's fine. People can get upset about it, but I feel fine about it. To me, it's so simple. I only apologize when I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I never apologize when I'm not sorry. But I always apologize when I am sorry. And it takes nothing from me to do that. to me, it is absolutely not a sign of weakness. I'm not doing it to prevent getting canceled. I'm doing it because I'm sorry.
You want to
I never apologize if I'm not sorry. And I hate when people are forced to apologize. Even if I wish they would apologize, I think it's so stupid when people are made to apologize because it means nothing.
And also, I think those of us who are even remotely sensitive, people can feel and tell when you mean something, when you mean an apology and when you did it because you had to.
Yeah. What? Oh, you've never fucked up? You don't think you should apologize when you do?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
It's
I mean, fine, then live your life that way and don't be shocked when there are consequences to what you say and do.
Yeah. Roxane Gay calls it consequence culture, not cancel culture.
Yes.
And it's such a great, she's such an amazing.
She's amazing.
It was funny. One of the other things, I mean, aside from like laughing my ass off watching your special, but one of the other things I was laughing to myself because I like to think I'm funny and I make myself laugh.
You are funny.
Thank you, Sarah. And Mike Lewinsky, did you hear that? So was that I too learned what the stranger is that you were saying from the beginning. I had not heard that. And then I made myself laugh because I was like, oh, this is great. I have now learned about the stranger from Sarah Silverman, and Miley Cyrus taught me what WAP was.
Yeah.
So I was like, I've not heard. But that is, I did not know that giving a hand job with your non-dominant hand is called the stranger. So
masturbating,
Is that right?
masturbating.
Oh, okay.
I love you. The joke is when I say I jerk off my boyfriend. I've been taken to jerking off my boyfriend with my non-dominant hand. Is a joke on that guys will do that so that it feels like someone else.
Oh, no, I get it.
And when guys do that, so it feels like someone else. That's called the stranger, which I did not know. But I love that that's it, like as if he feels differently when I use my left hand on him.
Right.
Although it would feel differently because I just don't have the same command.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Lessons on lessons on lessons. Hi, we're at Reclaiming with Monica
Exactly.
Lewinsky,
How to learn how to give a hand job. How is your family doing? How are your sisters? How are you guys all doing with all the loss? And
I mean, great. We're always remembering, there's always a day or something. Oh, this is the day that, or this is, oh, this would have been. And, but we are in constant contact, which I love. I mean, I really love living in the future. Like I have a sister in Israel. I have a sister in Australia, and it's us 4 sisters and my oldest sister, all of her kids, because she's the only one with kids. She has 5 kids. They're all grown. And so we have a Silverman United WhatsApp chain. So we're always up each other's asses. And then we have a sisters chain and we're constantly on that. And it's just so good to feel connected all the time. And then on Sundays, we don't always make it, or whoever can make it goes, but we have just a family Zoom.
you don't have kids, right?
I have no children.
Yeah. And so did you want children, not want children?
I always thought I always assumed I would have kids. And then every time once I was at the age of that I could have kids and stuff, I was just like, oh, I don't want to have kids until I'm in my 30s. Oh, I'm not going to have kids until I'm 40. I think in my 40s. You know what? When I'm 50, I'll adopt, get it. And I realized that I don't want kids. I love kids. I love kids. I'm baby crazy. All my friends have, a lot of my friends have kids, and that's very satiating to me. But I had a joke where I said this, but it's so really, really true, which is I love kids, and the only thing I love more than kids is doing anything I want at all times. And I think as a woman, talk about reclaiming, that's important to me. I mean, listen, I'm not like not in the short term, everything I want to do, I do,
Right.
I mean, but I like being the master of my domain. I like making decisions that support my own joy in this one life on this crazy planet in outer space. And
this dimension.
I think that's my response. I feel like our biggest responsibility needs to be our happiness, whether that's working to get food on our table and, do all those things, or, saying no to things, or, and I know that now people in my life think I'm always just blowing them off because I say this, but I usually am. I'm so busy, so I'm very protective of my free time. So sometimes, someone will invite me to something and I'll go, oh shit, I can't. Mm-hmm. And usually it's because I can't. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's not because I have something else scheduled. It's because I can't because I don't want to, and that's a reason. Mm-hmm. And I've been trying to get my boyfriend used to, he's so used to going like, well, I can't because I have to do this, and then we have to go here, and no one cares, and it's none of their business. Just say, oh, fuck, I can't. Thank you so much for inviting me. And whether it's because we honestly can't, which is most of the time, or because we had plans to stay home and do nothing.
Yeah.
Or I did, I've become very protective of that because I need time alone. And now that I'm in a relationship, which I'm very grateful for, and I love spending my time with him, I have to schedule my time that's by myself,
Yeah.
And be really careful about it,
No, I think about that it would be really hard for me to make a lot of adjustments to be with someone now who always wants to be together, because I'm very used to sort of that same thing of doing what I want when I want to do it, having my time, having it be quiet when I want it to be quiet. Mm-hmm. I was at the movies on Friday night and I almost snapped at someone who was chewing their popcorn too loudly.
Ooh,
and they weren't in my group.
Of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I like, chop your popcorn softer. I don't want to hear that. I mean, I don't quite have misophonia, but it's like the noises, the mouth noises, I notice them.
That's misophonia.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't go to the movies anymore because of pop. If there's a quiet moment and I'm hearing popcorn, I can't. I will get up and walk out and not stop walking until I'm home. It's and I know it's popcorn. It's the movies. You're allowed to do that. They're not doing anything wrong. But to me, it is so fucking disgusting.
Yes, they are.
I eat popcorn. Just don't.
Right.
Keep your mouth closed.
Right. No, it's a whole.
Other people exist.
Mm-hmm. It's.
I mean, I always say like my biggest fear is someone eating an apple in a quiet car. I'll just open the door and like roll out.
Yeah. I usually end with asking people a question about if there's anything that you are currently working on reclaiming.
Yeah, my time. I'm being very protective of my joy. And
it's important in today's.
I need the men in my life to be angry for me, like not for me personally.
Right.
But what's going on for women in this country and for the LGBTQ community, particularly, and, Black history being literally erased from schools. And this stuff makes me so angry. I want to fight. And I'll lose because I have no strength in my arms, but it makes me want to punch. Yeah. And I've been telling men in my life, especially white straight men, like, I need you to get fucking angry so that I can breathe. That's not much about reclaiming, I guess.
No, it is.
It's adjacent.
It is, because it's all for me, and part of why I was interested, to have conversations around this is because reclaiming is really elastic. It's really elastic. Getting back something that was lost or taken from you, and there are all these steps that happen in there. And so this idea of somebody getting angry on women's behalf, men getting angry on women's behalf because we have had something taken from us and we want it back. And that's what we're working on doing.
I just think we live in a time where if there's a silver lining, it's that we have to realize that we have to take care of each other. We have to take care of each other. And community is going to be like the answer, I think, in this current world. I don't know if we're going to have another free and fair election. It's not certainly certainly something I want to spread. And when people go, of course there will be. I'm so happy, and I hope they're right.
Right.
But we got to take care of each other. I feel like that's our purpose. That may not be your purpose, but I hope that it is, because we can't do it alone. I'm not crying. I'm just slowly losing my voice. Anyway.
Thank you so much for doing this. I love you
joy.
too. I know, and I want to come and meet Rory, which it is a hard name to say.
Rory.
Rory.
When you say it fancy, it's easier. Yeah. Rory.
Do you have any Grey Poupon, Rory? Thank you so much for coming to do this. Yeah.
I'm going to pee now.
Okay. You go pee.